version of Watchmen.
I feel like I know where you're going with this, and I'll agree with you.
That he made them look too cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everyone was too cool.
Everyone was too cool.
All the suits were very slick.
And it's like they had superpowers.
In the book, everyone's schlubby. Everyone is like
fat and old.
And Rorschach is not cool. Like, I fuck anyone who thinks Rorschach.
Yeah, Rorschach is a horrible person.
But Rorschach is who Batman would be if he lived in the real world, and he wasn't a billionaire. But
and also like a low key white supremacist.
Yeah.
But,
okay, getting into that, Alan Moore said that a lot of like the vigilante stuff, the costume superhero stuff dates back to Birth of a Nation, like the KKK movie. So that's why America's obsessed with vigilantes and hoods and capes and shit.
Can you find that? Hey, are we rolling?
Yeah. Okay. We're 10 minutes in.
Okay, just making sure.
No, Alan Moore straight up like compared like American comics books to Birth of a Nation, like I think it's WEDB or yeah.
Well, just look up Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation. It's like the white
Alan Moore.
Yeah, it's the KKK movie. It's like a white lady.
Well, right, I know what it is.
Yeah,
but that's interesting that he said that.
He said that's where, and then like Hooded Justice, like that's like the character from Watchmen, like that's straight up like vigilantes hanging people. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
like it's that era. Like.
Did you ever watch the Watchmen TV series?
I loved it.
It was fantastic.
And it was one of those things that I didn't wish it ever existed, but it was fucking awesome.
I'm glad it did.
Exactly.
What I love the most about it is it requires you to read the book.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's like, why are these people having PTSD from tentacles?
But it also is like it's like the Force Awakens for Watchmen. It's the same thing over again.
Yeah.
But also, it ruled. I love the angles it took. I love the fact that it taught everybody about the Tulsa Massacre. I love that I love that like they made him a black guy. Yeah.
The reveal of Dr. Manhattan was weird.
Oh, that was weird.
How they like made him have amnesia or some shit, so he didn't remember he was Dr. Manhattan.
I don't like who was involved with it. It was the lost guy. It was I think he's a one-trick pony. I don't really like him, but I felt like he did so good in that. Who's the creator of that show of the new Watchmen? He was the lost guy.
I forget his name.
Yeah, and it was just like I just felt like he was like, yeah.
No, but the show was fantastic, and yeah.
Oh, there it is, right there. It's like. Yeah, the first American superhero movie. He regards Birth of a Nation as the first American superhero movie.
Can you zoom in a little bit, Joey?
Where'd you see it?
It's the one right above the red line. It's that one right there.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, and I believe him because like Alan Moore's fucking like he's a wizard. He invented Antifa. No, not really.
It's like what the fuck.
No, like the V for Vendetta mask, you know what I mean? He wrote that book, the Guy Fawkes thing, and then that shit's just in the world now.
Can you scroll down so I can see it? Okay, so this is in fact the Watchmen writer goes a step further to discuss the superheroes by claiming that even with the growing diversity in the genre, the whole idea of people dressing up in masks and capes to stand up what's right is part of the white supremacist dream of the master race.
Yeah,
I would. Oh, so this is Alan Moore's quote.
Yeah, it's the quote. Yeah,
I would also remark that, save for a smattering of non-white characters and non-white creators, these books and these iconic characters are still very much white supremacist dreams of the master race. Moore said. In fact, I think that a good argument can be made for D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation as the first American superhero movie. And the point of origin for all those capes and masks.
Yeah, vigilantes and fucking capes and cowls and like doing whatever you like. It's about fucking lynching a black guy. And Alan Moore, he's British. He doesn't totally understand America, but like as a cultural like thing, like yeah, that movie like glorified the Klan, and it was one of the first movies. It was basically like if Spider-Man like was a Klan member, like. People would be like, "Oh, the Klan's cool." You know what I mean?
I see the connection he's making, but like that's a bit far. If you were like, let's say, okay, let's say that superheroes that superheroes in America
Well, and
were
vigilante
mostly like that had traits of supremacy, right? Let's say they had the traits of that. Like, let's say they were all the comedians.
Oh no, they're
I'd agree.
Oh, and it's funny. We go back to the fucking the Peacemaker thing.
He was originally supposed to be in Watchmen, right?
He was supposed
Right.
to. The Watchmen was supposed to be about the Charlton characters. So like you had the Question was supposed to be Rorschach, and
Yeah.
Peacemaker was supposed to be fucking like
Comedian.
yeah. And like this, yeah, no, and I do believe that. Like, have you seen this movie?
No.
It's very epic as black and white movies go. It's very much like if you saw this, you would definitely think the KKK were like the good guys. If you saw it back in the day, like it's that kind of movie. And we live in this world where this movie like fucking like
Yeah, but
is the first American epic. This is the first American Avatar.
3 hours.
but like I could again, like I can't equate
A white guy or a black guy rapes a white woman, and then they send a bunch of vigilantes after him. It's that movie, like.
Okay, yes, but also Batman would take down a rapist.
Oh no, you're not wrong. And Punisher kills fucking white supremacists all the time. You're not wrong. Like,
I find it hard when
but it's the like the idea of capes and vigilantes and people going out and doing whatever the fuck they want to because of
Oh, that's almost saying that okay,
like
just because the Nazis had uniforms and rifles, they're the same thing as the American army. That's the same thing.
no, but like vigilantism, like the one man taking up like a gun or like a violence for himself.
Okay, Okay, so you're talking about like the similarity in ideas. Okay, the Third Reich were under the control of a madman that thought that there was one supreme race, whereas the Allied forces, let's just say, the Allied forces were under control of people who believe that everyone should be free. They're different ideas.
But Robert Ford or like Ford and stuff, like Americans, like Germans learned all that like eugenics stuff from Americans. Like all the like the weird eugenics like science like stuff started in America before it like went to fucking Europe. You know what I mean? Like
Right, but I just find that I see
No,
why
it's
he's equating it, but it's just that's a stretch.
no, it's not. It's I mean you're not wrong that it's a stretch. But think of like the biggest movie you've ever seen, like and it has to be like Spider-Man or one of those. And imagine if it had subtle like fucking like white supremacist views. You know what I mean? Would you just like kind of just take them as like the way they are? You know what I mean? Would you?
Well, then you're changing the scenario because that's why I said earlier is like if our superheroes or even like when they first became popular in like the 40s and the 50s, right? If they had white supremacist undertones, like if Superman like low key hated black people, then yeah, maybe I could see like why there's a translation to that.
I mean, like part of it though is like our best superheroes are created by the Jewish people. Like we have fucking Stanley Lieber and fucking Jack Kirby creating fucking all the Marvel people, and you have fucking
Right.
the Superman people. What's his name? Schuster and fucking Siegel. They're like that shit, like the L shit, like the like in the last his name like Kal-El, like Michael, and fucking it's all like very like old school Testament stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Well, media having biblical like DNA isn't something that's necessarily new.
When did Birth of a Nation air?
It said 1912, I think, in that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to take it back even further, this is like the American origin of like vigilantism.
okay.
So basically, it was this gang, the San Francisco Committee of Vigilance, and so there's a small town. It just fucking exploded in population, went from 900,000 to 20,000 super quick, and law enforcement couldn't keep up. So these guys fucking, and like gangs started like becoming super rampant.
It's like some old west shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so these guys formed a fucking vigilante gang basically, and the militia basically hanged 8 people and forced several elected officials to resign. Each committee of vigilance formally relinquished power after 3 months.
No, that sounds amazing, and that doesn't sound race based like a lot of like the lynching and all that other stuff. Like Hooded Justice in fucking Watchmen has a fucking noose around his neck. Like,
yes, but you also need to remember that Watchmen is a parody of superheroes.
Oh, no,
it's not supposed to be a representation. It's taking a superhero story and flipping it on its head.
But no, it's like
it's the first major like what if thing.
Well, no, you know what? But even before that, like there was Squadron Supreme. It was a year.
Yeah.
It was a year before that, and it was like, what if we used the Flash to take away everybody's guns, and we used like all our like super inventors to invent things that people can't get like, and like it's basically like where Superman decides that I'm going to take over the world. It's basically like a different version of
Injustice.
Injustice, yeah. And Batman, like Nighthawk, is like fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And it came out a year before Watchmen, and it fucking rules. It fucking rules. But it's also like, you know, like the weird Squadron Supreme Marvel's version of the Justice League.
Right. No, yeah, and I don't know if there was more evidence.
No, I mean it's just something Alan Moore said, but Alan Moore also like
he's a crackpot.
No, I love Alan Moore. He also talks about how like comics, like especially like in the pulps eras before comics and stuff like that, it's all like money laundering for the mob. It all was.
I've heard that the old school like what was
newsstand shit
the evolution of like the Dimeback books was all a front for the mob.
Yes.
It was all funded by the mob.
Lucky Luciano and all that. Like, yeah, no, I've heard a lot of that too. That's like some Alan Moore shit that I've heard too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Alan, I can see where Alan Moore's coming from.
Yeah.
And I would like, it's not far fetched to believe that like back in the day when like fucking
Vigilantes like
Power was the shit, that this movie came out and people were like, oh fuck yeah.
Okay, so then
masks and capes.
Okay, so then let's assume it is, right?
Yeah.
Let's just go into the assumption that argument's correct. So then when you look at the two biggest superheroes on the planet, which are Batman and Superman.
And then Spider-Man. Those are the three.
Yeah. So you include Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So the top three superheroes, period, are all created by Jewish people or have heavy Jewish creative influences.
No,
okay?
like straight up. Yeah.
So if we look at that and it's like, okay, then the very basis of American superheroes is the antithesis of what this is, right?
But also
because they're created.
When we get to that era, this is also years after that. This is I'm talking about pulps even before that, like fucking Doc Strange and fucking like all that stuff, that like the Shadow and fucking Zorro before that. That was like very much just like a white savior kind of story, like
right. But for Jewish people then to create these stories, it would be the exact opposite.
Oh, and there's
of what's going on.
There's so